it's oil change today. Usually I don't actually record the oil changes because why? It's like the same thing over and over. But if I'm doing something like, or I have stuff to talk about, I'll do a short little video. This is only about 2 or 3 minutes, but it's a couple of things that I kind of go in stealth with Project Daily right now. As some of you know, when I purchased the car, it had a check engine light after like 5 minutes, and it did when he was driving it. But it was just an evap code, so it doesn't actually affect or performance or anything. It was just like your emissions. So if I had to go get it tested, like in California, I think you guys in California have 4 years, I want to say, that every 4 years you have to go get it checked. My car wouldn't pass. Didn't really worry me too much, so I kind of just left it alone. It would be like my vacuum hoses, or in the back, more modern cars. Probably if you guys looked in your cars, you would find it. But let's see if I can just quickly show you. There's a charcoal canister. That's what that box is right down there, and it's just used to filter the fumes when you fill up or when your car starts and primes the fuel pump. So there's a solenoid back here that I repaired. You can see the black tape hanging off because I haven't fixed it, but I had to get a pigtail from a different Subaru and put it on. So that, oh, it's out of focus, there we go. That pigtail was one of the issues. I fixed that check engine light in like 5 minutes. It was just a little bit of soldering and whatever. So that's fine, but I still had this emissions light. So it could have been it wouldn't put the solenoid, but it could be the box is full, not full, but clogged, or there's a issue with some of the lines running back and forth, or the filler tube, or any of that stuff. And in the engine bay, it could have been any of the vacuum lines that are running over top the intercooler, or any of these, your like purge lines, all that. It could have been any of that, but it doesn't affect performance. So I just left it alone, and it still hasn't bit me. So if you're thinking that it hasn't come back and bit me, it's just really annoying not having a proper check engine light. As I said, it was a little annoying not having a proper check engine light. So I was driving, not recently, it's been almost a week now since it happened, and my car stuttered in the parking garage. I'm like, oh, it must be bad fuel or something. So I quickly pull into a parking lot right beside the parking garage and check. It was a cam sensor circuit code, so it's not the cam's not incorrect, because that would mean my timing belt's gone, which would mean my car would be in a lot more, there'd be a lot more damage than there is, so it's not too much. So I'm like, oh, not too bad, it's like a $60 sensor, it's super easy to replace. But it's not. That's where I wish I was, had a more domestic model, I guess you would say, or domestic car, is these boxer engines are jammed right into the engine bay. Like, there's not much room. Even though it's a 2.5 liter, there's barely any room for anything. Same with the spark plugs. The spark plugs are way down there. You actually, on the other side, have to take off your reservoir for your water tank and your battery. So that's another thing, but that's another story for another time. So I was looking at cam position sensor. They said right here. I'm like, okay, go down, keep on going down. It is way down past the coolant reservoir, and farther down you see where this purge tube, or this breathe tube is, right there. It's actually in here. So I would have to take off this, not too bad, and then looking farther, take off the intake manifold, and yeah, to replace a $60 sensor, which on the Miatas you have to actually lift the engine up, so it's not as bad, but it's still pretty bad. I have to now fix this sensor that is hiding under my intake manifold. But as I said, it was fine. It's final time. So I decided, why don't we go get the evap sensor, or evap code fixed too, while we're at it, and bring it over to the guys at Vex, they're called. They're really, really good shop in Calgary. If you have a Subaru, recommend go check them out. I'll put the website down below, past everything, but they're a super good Subaru shop. So I emailed Ryan, the owner, I was like, could you guys check this out, check out these two lights and get them fixed? And he said, yeah, sure, it'll be a while. So right now I'm still driving the car daily, just without a cam position timer, so that means no boost for me. It also means I have to run plus 200 more RPM on the idle, which is not the greatest, so I burn fuel a lot faster. But it is getting fixed, and sadly, if it wasn't finals time, I would probably do this because I would have more time to do it. But I don't have time right now, and I can't really leave it like this because I don't know. I know it won't do damage in the short term, but I don't know about long run. So we're gonna go bring it to Vex in, it's about 5 days. The second thing I want to talk about was, if you remember or watched my video, I did tire letters, right? Super cheap tire letters. Well, I guess you get what you pay for there. If you look on my tires, this isn't even bad. It's still pretty good there, but let's run off to the front. And there we go. We are missing letters. It's actually chipping, cracking, all of the above, and you can't see because it's out of focus. All of the above, so like watch, I can take my nail and just peel it off. So what happens when I go to wash it with a pressure washer? They're just gonna vanish. If you want to do them for the short run and just use them to take some photos, I would totally recommend it. It's $10. It looks super, super nice. But in the long run, if you want tire letters, I guess you're gonna have to get the rubber, or sorry about the slightly depressing video, but things are looking up, and this is just the beginning, so peace out and stay humble.